Is Freeman right?
No, and I know Mike a little bit, and I respectfully disagree. It's going to be almost impossible for a wide receiver to win the MVP for the simple fact he plays a dependent position. And if that guy puts up astronomical numbers, guess what that means? The quarterback has astronomical numbers. Because if you remember the year Randy Moss broke Jerry's record, 23 touchdowns, Tom Brady was 5,050 and 8. So do you give it to a guy that has 23 receiving touchdowns or a guy that threw 50 touchdowns with 8 picks and 5,000 yards? Blam. The year Jerry broke the record with 22 receiving touchdowns in the strike, he had 22 in 12 games. John Elway was the MVP. So, and with that withstanding, Antonio Brown is not even the best receiver in the NFL. That distinction belongs to Julio Jones. And I get that when you're talking about great players, you're splitting hairs. But I go back to this simple philosophy, Skip. I'm going to take the great big man over the great little man. And I can assure you, when you're going to try to find a wide receiver, they're not saying find me a 5'9", 185-pound receiver.
Nope.
They say go get me 6'3", 220 pounds that can run 4.3. And I said this last year, and Greg, you were at the Super Bowl. Julio reminds me of a T.O. faster, has better hands. He has a bigger catch radius than Antonio Brown. I believe he's better run after catch than Antonio Brown. He catches the ball in traffic better than Antonio Brown. He's a better deep threat than Antonio Brown. Now, Antonio Brown is shiftier, but there's a reason why in the 98-year history, there's only one man that has 3 250-plus receiving games. He's the only, now there's been some great receivers. Lance Allworth and Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens and Sterling Sharpe and Chris Carter and Randy Moss.
I can't believe you went with Lance Allworth, but go ahead.
Charlie Hennigan.
Okay.
Don Hudson.
Wow. How old are you?
Hey, one man.
Watch those guys.
One man has 3 games of at least 250 receiving yards. And I love Antonio Brown, but let me tell you what gives me another lead to Julio. I ain't getting no drama. I ain't gonna get nobody throwing no coolers on the field. I ain't gonna get nobody forcing his quarterback. Oh, he missed me on one play. He's gonna target me 19 times the next week and throw 5 picks. Give me Julio. Antonio Brown is unbelievable, but I'm not taking Julio. I'm not taking anybody over Julio Jones right now.
Okay, Mr. Receiver, what do you say?
Man, you made some really good points there, and we are splitting hairs. And to Mike Freeman, like, it's impossible if Jerry Rice didn't win MVP, then you can name, I don't care what a receiver does, it's not gonna happen. It's a dependent position.
Even when Megatron had almost 2,000 yards receiving.
Absolutely, it's unfortunate, but that's just the way this is. When you talk about a guy that's gonna have the ball in their hands every single snap, you got to go with that.
I'm still mad that Jerry Rice got that MVP in that Cincinnati Super Bowl over Joe Montana, but go ahead. I am. It was wrong.
With one game, that can happen. But as far as when you look at these 2 receivers, number one, we're splitting hairs. You can go with Julio for reasons, and you can go with Antonio Brown. I'm on Antonio Brown's side because he is 5'10". He is a $180 because he defies all odds of that freak athlete that we already put into the category of 6'3", 6'4", 220.
By the way, what did you play at? 6 feet?
I'm 6 feet, 195.
Okay, got it.
And when I look at what he does, you say he catches the ball in traffic better? No, and no. Absolutely not. When you look at Antonio Brown and the way he catches the ball in traffic, he is one of the best players that has done that. And when I say that, Chris Carter, hands down, in my opinion, one of the best catchers of the football that I've ever seen. Antonio Brown is not on that level, but when it comes to catching the ball in traffic and you need a big catch and you know he's going to get the ball, Antonio Brown delivers every single time. Julio Jones, it's a receiver, it's a dependent position. Matt Ryan, he doesn't force it to him.
Exactly.
So we don't even, honestly, I don't even think we will ever really see the true greatness of Julio Jones because of that factor. But when you look at Antonio Brown, I'm going to stick with Antonio Brown for this very reason. his consistency. I know what I'm going to get out of him, regardless of their situation, regardless of who they have throwing the ball. When Ben went down a couple years ago, Antonio Brown still ended up with over 100 receptions, over 1,200 yards. He's going to always be who he is. It's not really and for a position that's predicated on how well your quarterback plays, it really doesn't matter with him. Just get him the ball, and he's going to make everything else better. And so when you look at a guy like that, I can't go against that. And again, we're splitting hairs, and Julio is a great receiver. Would I take him? Absolutely, without doubt. But I'm biased because I'm 6 foot. I know what that looks like, and I know what that feels like.
Little people always stick together.
Hey, so do big people.
Okay, you got it.
Okay.
I'm going with the little man. This little man and Antonio little.
And you little too.
Yeah, I'm a little. You do realize the older you get, the less weight you should you should weigh less.
I'm talking about being 5'6".
Okay.
I ain't talking about weighing 142 pounds.
I will take Antonio Brown over Julio Jones any day or any night, especially late in games, because this little man is something with the game on the line as he was on Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers at Pittsburgh. Because it's 17 seconds left, and they're 70 yards away from the end zone, and that 23-yarder, I'm still not sure he got his second foot down. You thought he did, but it was a clutch catch. It was a hellacious great catch. And then he turns right around and catches a 14-yarder, and they're suddenly in field goal range.
Kind of like that one Julio climbed the ladder.
Yeah.
On Sunday, the third day, he climbed the ladder.
Absolutely.
He got 23. Oh, you like that?
I did.
Yeah,
Look.
but this won the game. So, again, Antonio started 1 year before Julio. So let's just look at the numbers since Julio's rookie year, head-to-head. So over that stretch, Antonio leads the NFL in catches, and he leads the NFL in yards. Julio's fifth. Wait, did I say Antonio? Antonio leads. Julio's fifth and second in those categories. Antonio leads the NFL in first down catches over that span, and he leads the NFL in yards after catch. So in 4 big categories, he leads the NFL. Now, I agree, he leads in drama also, and I don't love that. And you got really down on him at the end of the year last year after the Facebook Live in the locker room at Kansas City, and so did I. You were ready to get him out of there, and I would have too. That would be a deal breaker, but they gave him his money, and here they go. And he is, look, Julio looks the part, I give you that, but this little man plays the part. He plays huge. He will go over the middle and catch it in traffic, and with the game on the line, I don't know anybody better because Ben lives and dies on Antonio. Absolutely. He just says, where is he?
Let me ask you a question. That catch that Matt Ryan threw to Julio Jones in the Super Bowl, Antonio Brown making that catch?
Yes. Yes, it's not going to be that high.
That's the way he had to throw it. They played 22-man. That's the only way he could throw it.
You're throwing based on the physical stature of a man.
I can't overthrow him. I can overthrow 5'10".
When the
Julio was a long jump and high jump champ in Alabama.
We get that.
About all that.
But after when the game was over and Atlanta went to your restaurant, what did they order?
Oh, was it Julio Jones' fault?
Well, I don't know. He was pretty quiet.
Okay, what about Sunday?
They ordered a big L.
Duh.
Right? L.
Duh.
Oh, yeah.
Look, and like I said, when you talk about greatness, I mean, it's not like, oh man, if I can't have Julio, I don't want anybody.
Exactly.
That's not what I'm saying. But when you look at Julio, look at the first 90 games. Look at the 90 games. Look at the first 90 games of their career and compare the numbers. See, the thing is with Matt Ryan, he's not going to force the ball. Ben will force the ball. Hence the 5 interceptions against Jacksonville. When you force the ball, now he's gonna catch a lot of balls because if he's catching 130 balls, how many targets is that you think he get? He getting at least 200.
Some close.
At least more than that. But you look at Julio. Julio went for over 1,900 yards receiving 1 year. That's unheard of. Tremendous run after the catch, big body, run through tough in traffic.
But
both can run the route.
Which of these players have more what I call fire in the belly? That little man's fire in the belly.
See, the thing is, because Julio is quiet.
Exactly, and that's what separates the two. When we talk about Antonio Brown having all these issues, like if it weren't for the Facebook, which was huge, if it weren't for that, in a couple other instances, he's cool. I mean, he's not Odell.
So if he didn't do the incidents, then
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is before that, we weren't talking about Antonio Brown having issues.
He's not a lawbreaker. He's not an
Yeah.
off
No,
the
he
field.
don't-
But the thing about Julio, there have been games Julio had 2 catches. I
And
mean,
he never says anything.
never said a word. Antonio Brown to get 100 catch season. Ben misses it one time. He's throwing water coolers. He like, don't talk to me, don't touch
Yeah,
me.
but it came out later that he thought it was about the differences in their protest approaches at the Chicago game.
Man, John done throw me 12 balls, all them balls.
Yeah,
If he
but-
missed me one time, oh well, so be it.
But so one could also say that when Julio doesn't say anything, it's like, come on, Julio, say something.
No,
No, because I'm one of this. I didn't say anything. I was more like Julio as well.
Yeah.
And when I watch Julio Jones, he's so dominant. He could be so imposing on defenders, that it's like you want him to just at least walk up to him and be like, I got you. You don't have to, just, I got you. Even though I know Matt Ryan knows that.
What about that 300? That don't tell you he got you?
I mean,
What about that 250?
look-
You were there when he put that 259 on Green Bay.
Absolutely.
When you saw him up close and personal,
look, I've seen-
and you go against that?
Yes, because I've seen the other guy up close and
He ain't
personal
never did
too.
259?
He ain't got to. He don't have
300.
to. How many times has he gone over 10 receptions this year? 5? How many
You get
games
20
has he played?
targets a game, Greg.
I'm just, look, that's not
Let me
my,
ask you- let me
I
ask you-
wish I did get 20 targets a game.
So, Shannon, how can you argue with these numbers? In every category, Antonio is crushing Julio in their same time allotment. that they've
Let me
been
ask you a
in the league.
question.
Crushing him.
If you go back over the last 5 years, who has the most touchdown passes and the most yards? Drew Brees or Tom Brady? Who you taking, Skip?
I don't know who does. I don't even know who that is.
You know who it is.
I'm
The
not
man
sure
got
about
4 or
that.
5,000 yard season in the last 5 years. So obviously he has more passing yards than Tom Brady
So-
and more touchdowns.
So how many Super Bowl wins does Julio have? He's got,
How many Antonio got?
huh?
None.
Well,
None.
wasn't he there?
Yeah, they lost. They lost to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there. He was there.
Sorry about
He
that.
was there. He was there, Skip.
Okay. And he had to bite his lip because Aaron Rodgers occasionally showed him up and called him out, pointed fingers, and you just swallowed it. You were a good soldier,
That was
right?
my first time seeing Aaron Rodgers
Yep.
up close and personal.
Yep.
And I went back and I said, this is the greatest. This man is the greatest thrower of the ball I've ever seen. That game right there. And y'all dropped some passes. Jordy dropped the touchdown too up the rail on the right side. Went
Speaking
right
of
through
drop passes, Antonio Brown only has 1 drop pass in the season. Julio has 4.
Yeah, that would.
That's subjective. Yeah.
It is, but Antonio's was a touchdown. It was last week too.
What? Yeah.
He could have.
He did.
That was a touch.
Well, Julio dropped one earlier against
I just-
Carolina.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, ooh, yeah.
That would have
Yeah.
But hey, give me big Julio.
But to the MVP point, well, yeah, I mean, we're splitting hairs. They're both great. But to the MVP point, of the last 10 winners, only 1 has been not a quarterback, and that's Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
And
And he had
if
to
Jerry didn't win it, at this point, it's like offensive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
You would have a lot of backlash
Think
from
about
a lot of players.
Calvin Johnson had almost 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
Over 100 catches. And he couldn't even win it.
Almost wasn't even considered in the category.
2,000 receiving. Think about that. 2,000 receiving yards.
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Greg, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few segments from the newest show on FS1, First Things First, with Chris Carter and Nick Wright.